JDG instead of top esports. So I think we can just fairly assume that with the rise in priority for Cassiopeia, she, like Orianna, are going to be the go-to blind pick mid lanes that everyone is fearing their lives for. And until they develop the Kog'Maw sauce, I don't think we're ever seeing Cassiopeia really be let through anytime soon.
Okay, so if this Ashe does get locked in, obviously top esports looking for the Ashe Seraphine, but what teams have been doing is taking the Seraphine away, and then the secondary pairing with the Ashe has been the Lulu. But this is a nice angle here, the Jarvan and the Annie actually, so just completely giving over the Ashe Seraphine and just wanting this strong mid 2v2 duo like they had in the last game. The J4 does work well, but no Luciamilio, Bard's banned. You know, maybe you can get an ADC on 3 here and go something like a Caitlyn, but I think JDG might want to pick their top laner. You're going to get banned out of bot though, so top esports do lock in this Ashe Seraphine alongside this Akali.
Wow, the Creme Akali already being flexed in game 2 of this upper semi-final. Now into Annie. Annie can always find a reliable way to lock her down. Just save the passive stun for the Q and just lead with that before dumping the rest of the damage and the burst right on top of it. Now, Annie Jarvan isn't necessarily the most traditional combo we find with Annie. Usually you pair it with things like the Nefiri or the Wukong. Yep. Both of those champions are junglers that are going to be building a little bit more damage oriented and be a lot more carry resource intensive as well. But there's a lot of point and click lockdown already from JDG, just recognizing and giving respect over to the very mobile threat here from Creme.
A lot of jungle bans here from JDG. And one thing that they are really missing is damage. A really high damage profile, whereas top esports do have a ton of damage. They've got consistent damage with the Ashe. They've got burst damage with the Akali. They've got setup. They need more of a front line here. So JDG ban away some more engage with the Nefiri and this Nocturne, sorry. But what is the answer here for JDG? What's going to be the AD carry into the Ashe Seraphine? The Olaf ban, something that's been rising up a little bit in priority. Do JDG opt to take the AD carry here? I think that would be the smartest choice. And it's going to be the Mel locked in. So that's a lot of burst potential.
Whoa, and the Mel rebuttal is going to have a lot of value in both the Ashe Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Seraphine Encore. This is very magic damage intensive, though, from JDG, and I think top esports were at least sniffing out the potential for an AP bot laner for Gala. We know that Gala has had many Ziggs games for himself in the past, and that Olaf ban trying to at least identify a strong source of physical damage from the top side of the map. That being said, top esports locking a tank for Zuian, grab the Wukong for Tian as well, which will be a very, very strong fighter to have alongside this very, very utility-focused bot lane from Ashe and Seraphine. And JDG decide, let's give Xiaoxu the Zhen and allow him to at least scale as a very, very strong fighter for this composition.
Yep. Thinking there could be a possibility of a Na or a Vayne. You know, the Sun pretty face up. But with the Wukong, the Akali, I guess it might be a bit too risky. They go for the Zhen instead, which is still a great matchup into the Sion. And with the triple melee, does make a ton of sense. Struggles a bit into the Ashe Seraphine. But again, I think JDG's draft is stellar. They've got damage now. They've got reliable ways of getting through the Sion. Super late game, maybe it might be a bit difficult, but with the damage split, it's really nice. They have a lot of catch. I was a bit worried after the Akali got locked in, maybe onto the Annie and the Mel. Creme can have a stellar game, but with Annie stun, with the potential of the Nautilus lockdown and the CC chain that comes after that, I think that individually, top esports need to perform exceptionally well to outperform the draft that JDG have. I think that that's a possibility if Annie gets a big lead. If the Ashe Seraphine bot lane gets off to a great start, which it definitely can do, and if Tian can, again, get the ball rolling a little bit better than he did that in that last game, I think JDG might be a bit worried. But team fights come around. I think JDG's draft is superior in the team fight.
Really? because I'm a little concerned anytime you have no marksman on your side of the draft. We'll see how it all unfolds as we hit Summoner's Rift between JDG and Top Esports for Game 2.
Very loud crowds tonight, Raafaa, which is good to see. Maybe the mics turn up super loud, but some eager and hungry fans. I'm going to flesh out my point a little bit more. I think
please do.
With the Jarvan, this Ashe Seraphine bot lane becomes very volatile in team fights. If you're playing a standard front to back, I think Top Esports draft is better because you've got the Akali that can be on a flank, and the rest of the draft can chew through any front line. You've got the Wukong, which is going to do a ton of damage, and the Shred. You got a Sion, which is going to live through anything, and then Ashe Seraphine has a ton of CC and consistent damage. But I think that with JDG's draft and the way that they've been team fighting, I think they have tools to deal with Akali. I think they have tools to deal with the Sion, and they have tools to deal with this immobile bot lane in this Ashe Seraphine. So the early game is going to be a bit rough through bot for JDG, but JunJia down here again. There's no ward. This is going to work.
And he sneaks right through the fog of war.
And the arrow.
And that arrow is not going to see that JunJia has arrived, but JackeyLove and Fengyue know that something's coming, and JunJia arrives with a deadly camp into gank pattern. Jindong Gaming once again with first blood.
Yep, the Hawk shot just misses him. No wards available because JackeyLove had used, both JackeyLove and Fengyue had used their wards in the bushes down the bot lane to make sure that Vampire doesn't get a sneaky hook angle. Does cost JDG their flashes throughout the bot lane, but another great start from JunJia, a smart start. And Tian back here to answer. I don't think he can close the gap well enough. There's no knock-up, so Gala should be okay.
Unfortunately for Wukong, despite the buffs that he got recently where his early clear is better, his skirmishing and damage is better, he just does not have any ways of providing lockdown before level 6. It's all damage, and for Top Esports jungler, gives a little bit of relief and pressure for Top Esports so that Gala is forced to take that recall and use the TP to return to lane, but JunJia getting the better end of the first impact on the map here.
Yep.
And we have to remind ourselves that Top Esports, they're playing a slower game this time around.
This is a little bit like what I was talking about. I did more mean with the ult, but JunJia still got great tools at catching out this immobile bot lane. Once the flash has been burnt by Gala and Vampire, JunJia just gets to do whatever he wants in that matchup. So really smart pathing from JunJia, well played from JDG as a whole, and this puts them off to a good start. And now, with that lead that Gala has, and the threat of Ashe having no flash, this is 3 winning lanes for JDG. JunJia can kind of just do whatever he wants still.
He's not falling behind the clear. Forced Tian to at least take a pit stop on that bot lane after his own 3 camp just to make sure that things weren't continuously falling apart in favor of JDG. CS lead isn't really that much over JackeyLove's Ashe at the moment, but it is a slight gold advantage off of that first blood. Tian slinking around on the top side of the map, but would have to rely on Zuian to set up the gank for him, and not necessarily close enough to level 6 to have access to the unstoppable onslaught to make that attempt onto Xiaoxu a lot easier. JunJia, though, finding JackeyLove. No flash on this Ashe, and that Ashe has just become one with the grass. JDG find a second kill for Gala's Mel.
Yeah, JunJia shows Tian how to play aggressive through the early game. Wukong not so much a champion that wants to do that, but the synergy in this team is very high. Great hook.
Oh, the lollipop from Vampire forces Fengyue to flash, and the pressure just continues to surmount for JDG's bot lane.
I actually learned the other day what lollipopping meant in League. I didn't know until this week. So,
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
Did I make it that obvious? Oh, I did say it. That's right. I did post that. I totally forgot.
Yeah. Now you know is when I said.
Ah. I also did post it in the Discord because I didn't know, and I think...
Oh, really? I didn't see that part.
What about mods told me what it meant, so yeah, big props to that. I know now.
Do you know what other champions can kind of lollipop with their animation?
I know Blitzcrank can do it with his hook, and I think I heard a cast a long time ago about Zoe being able to do it with her Q. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but there was a cast about Rookie and the lollipop on whatever it was, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's real or not. Tian will find Vampire, who's pretty tanky. We'll just be able to walk away with a hook onto the wall.
Right. I typically think of Thresh when, if it's not Nautilus, when it comes to lollipopping, because both of their hook hitboxes can be very deceptive. JunJia wants to make sure that Tian doesn't steal away any of his chicken nuggets. Fengyue trying to back up this Wukong, but he's not level 6, and the burst comes in from the Cataclysm dunk, and Gala for the layup. Creme forced to retreat, using that perfect execution just to get out of danger, but Zuian wants to force a re-engage on the HongQ, but he just sidesteps it. He already burned the flash, but he doesn't care. Now, he does quite care if the Scion flashes forward with a decimating smash. It allows Creme to finally get the first kill of the game for Top Esports. Things are getting quite messy here in our second game.
Okay, nice try from HongQ, but a great look from Zuian. Ends up paying off. Loses his flash, but a kill over to Creme is nice. The bot lane is getting accelerated, though, for JDG. And we saw this last game with the Xayah getting unleashed, and this is happening earlier than it did in that last game. Talking about this comps from parity, and Top Esports wanting to get ahead on the Akali, and that is happening, but they're absolutely not going to have a problem with having no marksman, with Gala having a 1k lead again in this game.
Yeah, this is a 3-0 Mel. And when we looked at the draft, when Top Esports were anticipating the likes of the Ziggs coming through, they were trying to deny a lot of AoE burst that could easily follow up on a Cataclysm onto targets that could not escape it. In this case, Ashe and Seraphine without flash. This Mel can do very similar disgusting things, especially when she's already accelerated 1,000 gold ahead of her counter matchup. First Dragon awarded over to JDG because of this pressure that they have put on the bot side, and all Tian can look for is maybe a Gromp in the cross map.
Yep, but he's been spotted on these wards, so JDG are aware that Tian is around the top side of the jungle. They can't quite find him exactly, but they're hunting. Grub's maybe just the priority here, but HongQ's going to find Tian.
Not quite yet, but Tian has to do his best Solid Snake impression. Uh-oh. Well, Tian,
found him.
Either you try to go for an execute, or we are popping the Cyclone to try and force an execute. No, he gets tagged by an auto attack, and he is going to accept his fate. Unfortunately for Tian, caught out by multiple wards covering that jungle entrance, as you called out, JBetto, and JDG are just completely reading everywhere that Tian wants to go this game.
Yep, this is the game plan. It has been since the start of game 1, shutting down Tian whenever we can, making sure that he doesn't get good angles, because I expect JDG to continue to look towards this bot lane in terms of finding picks and finding advantages because of, first of all, the advantage that Gala has built up. It's calmed down a little bit, but the lack of mobility, I'll say, from the bot lane of Top Esports and the ability that JDG's comp has to punish that. But I expect Top Esports on these timers where Tian has his ult now to try to look to break that, whether that's through mid, whether that's through bot, or finding an invade. Arrow sent out in mid, and that'll miss, so nice attempt from JackeyLove. But when JDG can punish Tian going for these looks, they're aware of what Tian wants to do. He's level 6, guys. He wants to be sneaky on the Wukong. He wants to maybe look for a pick on the top laner. And if we can stop that from happening, Top Esports just have no potential to look for 1v1s in these lanes. The Arrow is another great look at that. When that doesn't pay off, Top Esports are left really wanting for an ability to make decisions in this game.
Not having agency can be so demoralizing for any team, especially when you have seemingly in your disposable so many tools that should be able to start those fights. But once again, we cannot iterate this enough. This draft, the top esports, in theory, once you get to that state of the game where you have a couple items under your belt, even that first item spike off of your top side should feel strong enough for you to make that death ball happen and be able to fight front to back. But JDG have been picking them off at the sides. They've been getting the gold advantage. And if top esports continue tumbling into the chaos that JDG is getting the better of so far in our first 11 minutes of the second game, top esports are never going to get into a point where they arrive to that ideal fight scenario that they're looking for.
Yeah, JDG sweep out the bot side. They're aware with pings that Tian was in the top side looking for a play, so that's why JDG are down here in the bot now.
All sums available on JackeyLove and Fengyue, so Vampire's not going to immediately send it.
Yep.
Just plays a game of chicken to see if they burn anything first.
Yep. Good cover as well by Tian as Creme looks in the mid, but won't be able to find the full all-in as HongQ will drop his ult down. But again, another game where JDG just have vision on Tian the entire game. They know exactly where he is.
Oh, they tried to snag his body there, but it only hits the clone. Tian forced to use the Cyclone, however, and Vampire slows him down long enough for the Death Charge to connect and force him to flash away. Encore and ECA from JackeyLove connects and slows down the invade. Gala now caught on the wrong side of the tracks. Zuian TP'd in, forced the numbers advantage. Xiaoxu could not match it. Creme picks up a straggler and Vampire, and this is what needed to happen from top esports. The top laner in this Scion willing to sacrifice his lane to make sure that his team doesn't fall behind.
Yep. Big overextend from JDG. You can see the lead in bot lane has completely evaporated in that one play. Any other jungler, and you can't do that. Like, Tian can't get out. But the Wukong is so slippery. He gets the Trickster Spirit clone. Then he gets ulted, dashes to the Wolves, flashes out of the Cataclysm, and then JDG have gone way too far. Gala, behind his team, does so much damage, but is so easy to catch out by himself. So you see what I'm talking about here. Tian is so slippery. Despite these two ults, he gets out. Great TP, barely not able to be interrupted by Xiaoxu. And Gala wants to follow, but where's his team? Even if Zuian isn't here, I think he's still dead. JackeyLove can follow flash over the wall. Gala doesn't even bother to use the flash. And it's a massive mistake from JDG in this second game.
Remember how JDG fell folly to Thunder Talk in that first game is when they forced the extension a little too hard, and making sure that, as we kind of criticized top esports in the first game, don't disrespect your opponents too much. JDG starting to do a little bit of the same thing here in that just recent fight. Now they're still ahead by 1,000 gold, but the ECA from JackeyLove connects onto Vampire, forces him to flash through the wall so that Tian does not claim for himself his first kill of the second game.
Yep, you can feel at top esports the tempo vibes have shifted but slightly back in favor of top esports, where they feel confident to look for these plays. Tian isn't invading by himself. He's got this Ashe Seraphine behind him, gets the flash out of Vampire. It is Cloud Soul this game, which is pretty exciting. Always a fun soul to have. Not a boom damage soul, but is still very fun to be flying around the map. 1k lead, however, for Xiaoxu. So like you said before, Zuian sacrificing his lane, in terms of gold at least, to impact the map, get the gold lead off of Gala. And Creme has a goal lead of his own. We're talking in draft about what top esports need to do to find advantages in this game. It's definitely gold on Creme. But how much is this gold lead on Xiaoxu going to impact the game?
So far with the Trinity Force power spike, we haven't seen him really leverage that advantage just yet. But he's going to have the push now into Zuian Scion for now, being able to maybe control where JDG gets to go. Teleport advantage available to him for the next minute until Zuian's TP comes back from cooldown.
Yep.
JunJia has started up this Rift Herald, but immediately backs off.
He's looking for it now. TP into the top lane. Rift Herald's reset, but Top Esports will see that this TP has happened. And the response seems to just be give it over for now, although Top Esports with this roam from Zuian, he can ult down the lane, remember, he can join very quickly.
JDG, you have to commit. Either you burn this Rift Herald before Zion gets here, or you force the fight, but they're
the reflect!
Encore punishes multiple of them. Vampire's the first one to drop immediately. Tian now looking for the flank, cutting off JunJia and HongQ from the rest of the divers in Xiaoxu. Gala now forced out of the fight by Creme with the perfect execution threat looming on the horizon. HongQ tries to regroup and allows Gala to finish off Zuian. Xiaoxu maintaining the front door as Creme runs out of time for that second cast of the perfect execution. And Top Esports have run out of gas for now, but things are starting to get dicey for JDG in these extended skirmishes.
Yep. Tian's still behind. Vampire is aware of that, so he'll go hunting for the jungler, finds him on a ward, but Tian is already over the wall. Again, very slippery. If it's any other jungler, he's dead there. Tian might still get chased to his death, but in this river, in this jungle, he should be fairly safe. He'll get stunned. Is there enough damage to actually kill him? I don't think there is. He'll fake it and then actually do it for real, but HongQ with the reflect completely saves that play for the first half of it. Massive, sorry, not HongQ, Gala saves the play, which we'll see here, but then Zuian completely zones away Ashe and Seraphine. So first we see the rebuttal here. Hits the backline so that Tian can't go in and Fengyue can't continue casting. The ult from Zuian misses, but into the backline goes Xiaoxu and does so much work. Takes down JackeyLove in the solo kill, in the 1v2 even. And then the rest of JDG are able to group back up and take down Zuian. So much work done by Gala and Xiaoxu in that fight. They end up getting the Herald as well, so Top Esports really want to fight, and they have tools to do so. But Creme couldn't get into the backline. Really well played by Xiaoxu and Gala. There's still outplay potential for JDG, despite Top Esports feeling like they're back in the game confidence-wise, at least.
Definitely glad to at least see Xiaoxu try and make use of the teleport advantage before Zuian's was coming back up, forcing him to use his ultimate to join the fight. And Xiaoxu still maintaining that gold advantage now in the 1v1 on the side lane, working towards what I imagine is going to be either a Ravenous or a Titanic Hydra. Although Strikebreaker doesn't sound too awful if you want to slow down those backliners once you get on top of them and close the distance. But we've got third dragon of the game spawning in 10 seconds. Like you mentioned before, it is Cloud Soul. A lot of champions on Summoner's Rift right now would benefit off of the movement speed boost you get from popping your ultimate. Top Esports going to try to check in through this river entrance.
Okay. TP in from the Scion. Vampire gets looked at.
Force a flash. Oh, and they try to block the ECA, but the Encore will go through multiple members. Gala just suffers way too much burst damage from the Unstoppable Onslaught and the rest of the burst. Creme with the perfect execution, backtracks and assassinates JunJia on his way out. JDG completely taken apart by Top Esports.
Yep. Ashe no flash. I think JDG wanted to get the fast track onto taking down either the Ashe or this Akali, but it's another insane TP from Zuian into the backline, catches out first Vampire, and then Gala is hit by everything. JunJia goes down trying to protect his AD carry, and Top Esports even the gold lead back up and get themselves a dragon, so they're looking, JDG are, for some priority over the river. But after Vampire doesn't tank, it's Gala that gets hit by. First it's this ult, then JunJia blocks the ECA, and then the Encore layers on top of both of them. Gala literally cannot move. He's taken down by Creme finally, and JunJia puts his Cataclysm on before he falls. But an amazing fight from Top Esports. They're so fast when they find the advantage, and Zuian has been the savior of this game in terms of setting up these plays.
People may look back at this game in the state and think, oh yeah, Creme is hard carrying, but Zuian is the one that made it happen by making the sacrifices and the well-timed TP timers to orchestrate those plays in the beginning and catching JDG by surprise. So love that we are giving him the credit that he deserves for the mid-game success that Top Esports is slowly manifesting as another unstoppable onslaught tries to search for HongQ, but he gets enough distance and gets out of grasp from the rest of Top Esports.
Yep. I mean, again, we were talking about how Top Esports can find advantages in this game. It's Creme and Tian having a lead. Now, Tian doesn't have a lead in gold per se, but he has a tempo lead. With his team, he is finally able to run around the map and do what he wants to do and find advantages with the leads that his team has. Creme having a 2,000 individual gold lead is massive for this game. When Lulu was up, you could have gone Lulu with the Akali picked up. Instead, they go for more CC, but Creme hasn't really been killed at all this game. He's been targeted by the CC, but he hasn't fallen. He's found angles in this game, and stopping the dragon stacking in that last engage means Top Esports have time to get items on Ashe, items on Wukong, and more gold on this Akali in a side lane.
And this was the concern I had with JDG's composition if they didn't get a massive snowball for themselves, because a lot of that damage profile is burst. You don't have a traditional DPS machine in a marksman available, right? And you're kind of counting on Xiaoxu to try and be a majority of that physical damage that can extend and try and wither down any of these opponents that Top Esports still try to muster up in the aftermath of the initial cooldowns being burned.
Yeah, but remember they had that lead. JDG had a massive lead on Gala, and they threw it away by over-chasing. This is not a game state that Top Esports induced of their own accord. It's JDG that had this massive lead in top, a big lead in bot, and mid was fine. And now, because of a mistake, because of a couple of mistakes, Top Esports have found themselves in this position. The gold lead is overall even, but the individual lead on Creme, the kind of tempo of how the game feels, it's gone. The tempo vibes, I should say, have fully gone back in Top Esports' favor.
Vibes are no longer immaculate for JDG's side, but they're not rancid either. There's still time to try and catch back up, and Xiaoxu off of the second item spike in the Zehen, alongside the rest of JDG, force Zuian to retreat with the unstoppable onslaught. He has TP, but he won't have access to that ulti if they want to try and force a fight. But we are a minute and 13 seconds away from Dragon.
It's a full minute, and we're fighting over the river scuttle crab. It is the enhanced one, so it's pretty important. And Top Esports will pick that up. And remember, JDG still, I think, have a lot of tools to deal with Top Esports comp. You can see how much damage they do to Zuian at this point. He doesn't have a lot of MR. There's a lot of magic damage coming out of JDG. Xiaoxu does a ton of damage as well with this Stride Breaker picked up. And the backline is still immobile. Right? Ashe and Seraphine is still immobile. There's still a Jarvan. There's still a lot of lockdown in CC. So this game is at parity in terms of team gold, but Top Esports have the individual capability to look for carry performances. JDG need to slow the game down, look for their team fights again, because if they let Creme off on a roll, if they let Tian do whatever he wants through the jungle, they're going to start to slip and lose focus of what the main goal is, and the main goal is these team fights.
Yeah, I remember. This isn't just any Akali, this is Creme's Akali. When he was first coming up through the OMG pipeline and the development LDL team, this was one of his bread and butter champions. So if Top Esports is going to have faith in any of these characters they have on their composition in the second game to be the one that pumps out the damage and finds the assassinations necessary, it's going to be him, as the fourth dragon of the game being leashed by JunJia. Creme spotted by that ward around the red buff.
Yep.
ECA goes wide, parts the river like the Red Sea. Zuian doesn't find the unstoppable onslaught. Stopped in his tracks. Patient play from JDG, but Tian finds a 4-man knockup with the Cyclone. JunJia locks down Creme, but he's healed up by the surround sound from Fengyue. The Seraphine providing so much value. Creme still survives. Looks for the killing blow into JunJia. Gets the perfect execution into the 5 Akali strike. And Top Esports outlast JDG's onslaught and come away with a 3,000 gold advantage.
An insane fight from Top Esports because the initial engage completely whiffs. Creme is caught by the engage and the catch from JDG. I'm thinking, okay, this fight is done. JDG have settled themselves down. They've caught Top Esports. The engage is whiffed. The arrow goes wide. Zuian hits nothing. Creme is caught. And then Tian goes into the backline by himself and completely turns the fight around. It's the individual carry performances from Top Esports that are going to win them this game. Here's the whiffed engage. Creme is caught by the hook from Vampire. It looks beautiful. This is a great position, but Tian, Flash Cyclone onto 3 in the backline, and then he follows over the wall with the W that he still has available. A massive swing in this fight.
And once JDG's composition is broken apart like that, when they're not the ones able to force the fight first, it's so hard for members like Annie and Mel to deal with these divers just completely suffocating them. You have to remember how ideally you want to send the Cataclysm, you want to send the Death Charge, and just from afar, like an artillery, dump the entire Mel combo. And they found JunJia once again with the CC, and the Flag and Drag is not going to be enough to save him this time around. Top Esports now commanding a 5,000 gold advantage here at 26 minutes.
Yep. Not only have Top Esports shown in this game that they can team fight just as well as JDG can, but also that you can't make mistakes around them. HongQ's just dead. There's nothing that Vampire can do to protect him. But JDG have the lead, and if you make a mistake, Top Esports with a goal lead on their own will do this to you.
Game 1 was a demonstration of what JDG can do when Top Esports disrespect them a little too much, and they're the ones that steamroll with the advantage. And now the second game is a recalibration from our Top Esports roster, being able to demonstrate when they are able to show some more patience, show some calm and poise as they open up the base. Zuian will hold the line, and Vampire is just eating so much damage from the rest of Top Esports. Creme getting fancy with it, dashes back to that Shroud. And they will be given enough time with the Baron empowered cannon minions here to completely wipe out that inhibitor. And they can continue the siege here in the mid lane as well.
Yep, the gold lead has exploded very quickly up to a 10,000 gold lead. Look at that Baron power play. Plus 6,000 gold nearly. That is the most efficient Baron I've seen. They're raking it in.
My goodness. Well, we have gotten back and forth looks from our two teams so far. So if this signals that we're going the distance, JBetto, unless you think that it's going to be a cleaner look from Top Esports from here on out, I don't know. I mean, like,
I definitely think,
like we said before, you can never predict what is going to happen next.
Yeah.
LPL.
I think this playoffs is definitely, that's how I feel. Anything can happen in this playoffs, but I definitely think Top Esports need to make a bit of better work out of their early games. In the series against Thundertalk, JDG's early games were in question, but this game, or this series so far, Top Esports' early games haven't been the most effective. And JDG are the ones who let it slip and give Top Esports the advantage. But when given that advantage, they look incredible, as Rian is a bit trigger happy with this ult. Baron has worn off. The Top Esports still happy to continue the siege.
More than 10,000 gold ahead, with Creme having about half of that gold advantage just in his individual lead over HongQ's Annie. I imagine the Top Esports are going to push their luck, relying on the strength of the super minions pouring in through mid and bot. And good night, the Vampire blown up off of the ECA engage from JackeyLove once again. It gives them time. Zuian just using the empowered TP to get the shield so he can walk on in. Creme already starting off the engage well and dances around long enough to buy time for Top Esports to eliminate more members out from underneath the Nexus turrets in JDG's base. Triple kill coming in for JackeyLove, and it's only Gala that can try and defend the remnants of his home base. But Top Esports are not going to give a damn. Flash from Gala, looks for the execute on the JackeyLove. He does end up getting it, and that just might hold off the defense for now. Top Esports will not be able to continue the siege, but it's still a 10,000 gold advantage. I don't know how JDG come back from this.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure, especially when Top Esports have so much catch potential with the fishing of the ECA, with the Encore. Zuian, again, a bit trigger happy on his ult, but he's still looking for it. Top Esports are very aware of the advantage they have. And hero play from Gala sacrifices himself, and I believe they will lose both Nexus turrets. They will. So it's an open Nexus, which if you watch the series against BLG, is a soft spot. Don't leave your Nexus unprotected. I don't think JDG will do that, but yeah, they've got a long way to climb in this series. Sorry, in this game to come back.
We have seen teams claw back from deficits as grand as this.
We have.
And I'm still very, very skeptical that it's going to happen in this game, but I'll just, if you can't hear me knocking on my desk. Yep. Just to put it out there. But I think Top Esports have all the tools necessary with 3 open inhibitors, double super minions pouring in through every single lane. This should be the total amount of pressure that you need that guarantees you complete priority over the rest of the map. So they'll be able to secure this dragon and the Baron Nashor once it spawns.
Yeah, if you really want to play this like 100% the most safe you possibly can, you, for some reason, use this Baron to set up for Cloud Soul, but I don't think that's remotely necessary. Defending triple inhibitor, or like triple inhib down against Baron is next to impossible. JDG are going to have to look for the most miracle fight they possibly can. They need to kill Creme. They need to stop Tian getting in the backline. They need to somehow chew through Zuian at this point where he's got so many stacks. And these minions are pouring in. The waves are hopefully going to get synced up for Top Esports. Here comes the arrow. It goes wide, but they have so many more tools to look for catches.
You got Encore, you got Cyclone, and you got Unstoppable Onslaught. You just got to wait for the right time to pull the trigger. And there you go. Zuian is going to find a multi-man knock-up onto 2. JunJia tries to at least force JackeyLove and Fengyue to back off for now, but you got to deal with Tian, who is just ripping apart HongQ in the backline behind the Nexus Crystal itself. And just like that, Top Esports finally put the finishing touches on the second game. We've got a series on our hands. We're tied 1-1.
Yep. The hubris from JDG in this second game. Let's Top Esports answer back in the series 1-1. And while Top Esports' early game did look a bit here and there, they found the advantage as soon as it was presented to themselves, and then they never let go of their lead. So, I think this has cemented to me that this series is going to go the distance. I feel like these teams are both very close. The one caveat to that is, again, Top Esports early game. What can we do to make this go a little bit easier? The jungle advantage that JDG have found in both games has been nearly insurmountable. It was insurmountable in Game 1, and it should have been insurmountable in Game 2 if JDG didn't continue to look too aggressively as they have in the past. Yeah. So if Tian can find himself in this series, we will have a series on our hands. So far, JunJia having the upper hand in the early game, but Top Esports with their individual carry performances in this game too have given us a fun series, at least so far in our first 2 games, and in Game 2 specifically. Fengyue on his Nautilus, taken down a peg as well. I was surprised to see that.
Denied by Vampire, and we thought that the way that Vampire was finding some of those early engages alongside JunJia, like you said, it seemed like it was an insurmountable lead that JDG were rolling away with. And in another world where they are a lot more respectful and temper down that aggression in that early invade, we're looking at a 2-0. We're looking at match point from JDG because they definitely had the accelerated stats and the spike timers off of Gala's Mel. You can just blow up any target that you want off of a Def Charge, Cataclysm, or an Annie engage. You don't even need Zuian. Zuian was going to be your insurance policy once Zuian started joining the fights. But the problem was that they just couldn't get much back off of it from the fact that Zuian had a gold advantage. And I think you called it and you highlighted it in the mid game is, yes, Zuian has an advantage, but Creme having an advantage feels much more significant, especially when you look at the characters that he can easily assassinate on the side of JDG.
Yeah, there were tools to deal with the Akali. Mostly the Nautilus is there to try to stop the Akali from getting in, but with that amount of gold lead, with the way that Creme was positioning and playing, he got caught, and it still didn't matter. Tian was there to back him up. Creme ended up getting such a big gold lead that he could one-shot everybody no matter what. Played around his Shroud really well. For me, that's a Creme MVP. I think he played incredibly well. Got the lead kind of on his own after that mistake from JDG. Good gold graph. And then ended up transitioning his lead to give Tian gold, give JackeyLove gold, and JackeyLove obviously ended up doing a ton of consistent damage. This feels kind of like in game one, giving the Rumble over. We're giving Ashe Seraphine over with no answer. I know the Nautilus is the answer, and it did start to look good, but when the team fights break down, JackeyLove just does so much. I don't agree with giving it.
Mel rebuttal should, in theory, have a lot of value in reflecting some of those ultimates, either the ECA or the Encore. In this river fight, you get a reflected Encore, and it was still playable from JDG's side, right? But once again, the biggest problem with this composition is that it is what I like to call or compare to a shotgun, where you unload all of your ultimates, you get a bunch of burst down, and that's kind of your way to winning those fights. You're supposed to blow up the backline before they're able to play out the extended fights, but you have to be the first ones to pull the trigger, because when top esports are the ones forcing engage onto you, look at Gala. Look how uncomfortable he is right now. He's like, there's a tank on top of my face. There is a monkey with an entire golden rod smacking me over the head as well. This is not a fun place to be. I am just trying to pump out damage from a safe distance. But when constantly the distance is being closed by these engage tools from top esports, then JDG's comp can't function if they cannot pull the trigger first. This
is a great engage from Tian. Kind of different fighting. The way that JDG fight is a lot more together. And the way the top esports have been fighting in this game is you can see that Creme and Tian end up linking up at the end, but they're individually finding wins. And once the Baron was taken, the triple inhibitor, pretty impossible to come back from that. Great arrows. The catch potential from top esports was very scary, very, very hard to deal with. So we're tied 1-1. A lot off the board already. Ashe Seraphine, the Lee Sin's gone, the Rumble's gone, and the Lucian Milio's gone as well. So a lot of these high priority picks already off the table, and a ton more games to come after this. Interested to see where the MVP goes, but also where the priority in draft goes next. Is it a Karma lane? The Ezreal's been banned a lot, so I'd be surprised if we're going to let Cass or Orianna through. But we'll see later on. Very clean end to this game, Raafaa.
Want to reiterate what your focus is for both teams should be. Is that top esports, despite being able to make the comeback in the mid game and punish JDG's overextensions, we're still not convinced with how they're playing out the early game, and we're still not convinced with the decisions that Tian is making in trying to contest JunJia. I think there is definitely a precedence that JunJia built up for himself from Split 1 and even parts of the regular season from Split 2, where people recognize, oh wow, if you put JunJia behind in the jungle, he looks really uncomfortable. He looks really unsure of how he wants to carry out the game and is not willing to give agency over to the rest of his team. It feels like, at least from those early looks, JunJia needs to be in control or the rest of the team falls apart. But we got that reflection and adaptation from JDG's series against ThunderTalk, where just because JunJia's behind doesn't mean that the rest of the map is going to fall apart. It takes other cast supporting members to pick up the pieces. I know you're a little miffed that Creme didn't get the MVP, but
This is still good.
I think this is still a good honorable mention because it was Zuian who was willing to drop that first TP away from the lane of Xiaoxu, and 1,000 gold advantage given away. I just saved my team from absolute despair.
Yeah, we highlighted it in the cast. We spoke about it a bit. I was a little shocked to see him win the MVP completely, but still, think it's a worthwhile choice. Did a lot throughout that mid game to help close the gap of the gold, and once Top Esports started pulling it back in their favor, Zuian was the spearhead in some of those engages, so completely respectable. And a great performance from Zuian, who had a bit of a tough game one.
And to bounce back, he puts the Scion fries in the bag, JBetto. Beautiful how that can work out sometimes here in this meta. But that wraps up game 2, and we are at a tie, 1-1. As we said before, we hope this one goes the full distance, but we're going to find out if it does right after this break.